Good morning and welcome to the October 4th session. Before we start, we always open with a prayer. Glad to see you. Goshen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Say the name of your church again.
It's Kazadel Baptist Temple. So.
Thank you.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of serving, and thank you, God, for our commissioners. I just pray you give them wisdom and guidance, and Lord, and all the decisions that need to be made. I pray that you just help all of us today with calm hearts to share what needs to be shared. And Father, we just pray for our country. I pray that, Lord, you just, Lord, in every elected official, we just really need your help. I just pray you'd work in each of their lives, and Lord, just help us, Lord, to just do all things to serve our people. And Lord, we love you. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Commissioner Painter, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on the agenda is the approval of the regular session minutes of 9/27/23. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I think I have to second that. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Okay. Next, we have a proclamation designating the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Clermont County. And Stephanie Hsu. Hi.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
We have a proclamation I'd like to read. It's whereas violence against women and children continues to be a more prevalent social problem, and whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group of people but crosses all economic, racial, and social barriers, and whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity through the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economical control and or abuse, and whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting women and their children and society as a whole, and whereas it is survivors of domestic violence themselves who have been at the forefront of efforts to bring peace and equity to the home, and whereas it is fitting to set aside a special time to bring this issue to the attention of all Clermont County citizens so they can become better informed and involved in programs to eliminate this epidemic from our society, and to also let families know that they are not alone and there is help and support available for them. And whereas the YWCA Greater Cincinnati is joining forces with victim service programs, criminal justice officials, and concerned citizens throughout Clermont County and across the state of Ohio to observe Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Clermont County, Ohio. It is signed by myself, Bonnie Batchelor, Commissioner David Painter, and Commissioner Claire Corcoran. And we present this to you.
So much
Would you like
appreciate it.
Oh, would you like to say a few words?
Just a few things. So we always like to thank you for your continued support of the YWCA and our services. We are in Domestic Relations Court. We have a physical office there. Out of that office, 235 individuals have been assisted to this date with protection orders, housing, protective housing. We have 2 shelters, one in Clermont County and Hamilton County. Out of 1,502 bed nights, 82 of those clients were from Clermont County. So we are here, we are helping in conjunction with the Clermont County Prosecutor's Office, who are here in show of support, Little Fork Family Advocacy Center, the commissioners. So we're here. We're going to continue to serve. We hope that Clermont County can stay. We won't accept domestic violence. No tolerance in Clermont County. We see it's a problem. We need to really step up. Local police departments in conjunction with all agencies, all collaborative, to make sure that this stops and what we can do to serve our survivors. So thank you so much. It starts here. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for your work. And Michael will want to take your picture. The
Yeah,
other commissioners will
absolutely.
step down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. See, there we go.
Ready?
Sorry. No. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can tell Mike's back. He's got camera happy.
He is. Didn't let him take his fourth picture.
Nope.
He'll be hurt. Okay, moving on to item D, public participation. We do have some new employees. Bruce, you want to do yours first?
Morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
We'd like to introduce you to our two new inspectors. We'll start with John Taylor. John, he resides in Northern Kentucky. He's been in the electric business most all of his career as an electrician. And some of the things that he's passionate about is spending time with his family and fishing. I think that's a good hobby.
There you go, Tom.
Yep. He is motivated by trying to provide the best customer service as possible to his clients. And he'd like to add that he is the survivor of being a father of two twins. Bless you.
Thank you.
And he'd like to find a career. His motto is, if you have a career that you love, then you'll never work a day in your life. Thank you. That's profound. I appreciate that. All right.
I have to ask, boys or girls?
Both, one of each.
Did you?
How about
Good
that?
for you.
Awesome. Second, we have Kurt. Kurt Elkins. Kurt is a lifelong Clermont Countian joining us. He too has 30 years of building and electrical experience. He has a 28-year-old daughter in college, and she plays 20. Oh, my bad. I'm trying to make you older than you. She is in marching band for Ohio University. They love football, puzzles, and playing at the beach. Kurt also loves to cook, and he would like to move to the ocean one day.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do you want to wait and do the pictures after to get them all? Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Next, Ann Gross.
Good morning. You can stand up here. Good morning. My name is
morning.
Ann Gross. I am the Assistant Director with Children's Services. I'm here on behalf of Susan Walther, who is actually in Columbus today. I have two new employees to introduce. The first one is Heather Ainge, and she is a social service aide too in Children's Services. She is the mother of 4 boys and a girl and a grandma. Heather has been a caregiver doing home health care for 28 years and decided it was time for a new path, and is so happy to be part of Children's Services and helping the CPS team of coworkers make a difference in the lives of Clermont County families. So we are very excited to have her. She does transportation for our kids and has jumped into that role. And then Emily Rice is a clerical specialist with Child Support Enforcement. Emily is from Georgetown, Ohio, where she's lived most of her life. She's married and is a proud mother to her 2 wonderful children. Emily enjoys spending her free time with her parents, husband, and her children. So we're very excited to have both of them.
Welcome. So now I know Mike will want all of the new employees up front. And be prepared, it's at least 3 pictures.
Only.
Should we just stand up here?
Yeah, we can just stand up here behind it.
Glad to have you all here.
Thank you, bet.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have a presentation about our healthcare benefits. Who's going first, Yvonne? Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Morning.
morning.
This is a follow-up from a meeting we had maybe 2 weeks ago, I believe. And Steve Ferguson from USI and myself will tag team and present various information because there were some questions posed to us after they left the last time that I'll address, and then they will also address their recommendations. So starting off, there were questions about the plan renewals and the runoff costs. So just to step back and go over that again. The quote from UHC came in for a renewal of $14.6 million. Runout cost are claims that are incurred in one plan year, but are not billed by providers or paid into the following year. So SEBCO came in with a quote, initial quote at by the time we add in our administrative cost and the funds that we contribute to our health savings account for our high deductible plan, they come in at $14 million. So that's a $600,000 saving and renewal over UHC. We did go ahead and reflect that with the price of the SEBCO plan at $14 million, at the county level, we would also have to pay out those runout costs, which are estimated to be about a $1.1 million. So the total plan cost between SEBCO and what we would pay locally is around $15 million. It is, I believe that the SEBCO quote did take into account that with runout costs, the first quarter of the plan year is largely made up of those runout costs. So we believe that first year renewal, which would be in 2025, would take that into account, and our quote would likely go up with that in consideration. Looking at the 2 different plans between SEBCO and UHC, we went through and did some pros and cons. And I would like to first point out that the last time we spoke, I represented there were 46 counties in SEBCO's plan. After that session, we received confirmation, and it is now public, that Butler County has joined for 2024. So they will be in the group. The SEBCO board also, I think there's a question on the board itself. There are 12 members to that SEBCO board that are made up of commissioners. And that 12-member board gets the quotes and makes decisions for the plans for the SEBCO group. So some of the pros looking at SEBCO, I don't know, do you want to go through this?
Sure, I'll do that, yeah.
Okay.
So SEBCO is a, again, my name is Steve Ferguson with USI. SEBCO is a consortium plan run by the county commissioners, and it is through Anthem. And so even though it is a self-funded plan at the SEBCO level, it is a fully insured plan at the county level. So you have fixed expenses, which can be a plus or a minus in some situations. So the advantage is as you know, with a self-funded plan, you have ups and downs every month based on your claims. With the SEBCO plan, you have constant funding. So that's a pro, obviously, because you know what you're going to pay every month. And a lot of people like that, but that is certainly one of the positives. There is a cost reduction if you ignore the runouts from what is funded in 23 compared to what SEBCO is requesting for a premium cost in 24. But you do have that run out that adds to that. The nice thing about a consortium is there's some advantages with claims pooling. So they will pool claims among all the different counties that participate in it. Sometimes that's a plus, and it's a plus, especially if you have a bad claim year. It might be a negative if you have a great claim year and you're getting pooled with a lot of other things. But for most part, most people look at consortiums as kind of a plus in the process. A lot of the administrative costs and filings, federal filings, are all done by SEBCO. So SEBCO would handle COBRA, SEBCO would handle what's called a PCORI fee, which is an ACA requirement. And also SEBCO actually does an EAP, which would be a plus for the county because we've had some discussions about EAP replacement and looking at that for this. And all of the reporting that the county currently does today required, even though you're not required through ERISA, there's some federal reporting and SEBCO handles that. So those are the pros. We've already talked about the runout. One of the things that the county benefits from today is that you get discounts and rebates from your pharmacy manager, which runs about $1 million. We talked a little bit about the renewals. So in pricing a first-year fixed cost, what insurance companies like Anthem will do is they recognize that there's going to be claims that were incurred in November, probably October, November, December, that won't be billed until January. So as a result, they recognize that the first year is really based on kind of a 10-month lag. When you get your first year renewal for 25, they will then base it on a full 12 months. So it'll be up a little bit. Just basically, it's called maturing in the process. One of the other cons is there's a little bit of plan flexibility, although they were flexible to be able to, we had some accommodations that we asked for, and they were able to accommodate some of those flexibility issues. And you're locked in for 3-year terms. So if you were to leave anytime prior to the 3 years, the county would then pay the runout that you would incur, same runout that you have today in the process. The pricing for the high deductible plan and the copay plan is really flipped. High deductible plans tend to be less expensive in general, and yours is today. Whereas in the SEBCO plan, the pricing that they gave us, the high deductible plan, was more expensive than the PPO. So that's a little bit of funding at the department level. They'll have to kind of switch how they do that in some cases. And there are certain things that the county has added today, like hearing aids, weight loss program, that SEBCO doesn't offer. They may be willing to do that, I guess, someday in the future, but there's flexibility issues because they have to take into account what all the other counties are looking at the time. So kind of the flip side, it's just the opposite we just talked about. The pro, of course, is you do have more flexibility with a program like United Healthcare, or even with an Anthem, if we were able to go directly to them. The current plans today provide richer benefits and some lower out-of-pocket costs. There is a chart up here that we'll go through. The plans are pretty similar. The big difference is that there's a higher out-of-pocket cost today for the copay plan, just for some prescription drugs. Some pros, there's some funding and flexibility pros. You do have more freedom to add services, and the county gets discounts such as the rebates, which run about $1 million. What's not showing up here, we put in what's called a pharmacy assistance program, which the county would otherwise have to pay anywhere from $800 to $1 million in pharmacy costs that we get the manufacturer to pay for. So that's not available through the SEBCO plan either. Some of the cons with the UHC is we have to do a market renewal every year, whereas with SEBCO, you wouldn't do that because you're locked in for that 3-year period. And with UHC, you have to do all the administrative stuff that the county does today. So.
And I would add on that, on the claims invoicing, there's the fluctuation of, as Steve said, with SEBCO, you pay a flat premium, if you will. With UHC, we're paying claims every week, which can go up and down and fluctuate, which is why we have our reserves.
So this is the plan design, and you can see that the plans are pretty similar. The big difference is the one that's highlighted. There is a separate, what's referred to as an out-of-pocket max for the prescription drugs, which probably makes sense because prescription drugs are so expensive these days. But what it does is it increases the cost for employees who are in the copay plan when they take the prescription drugs. So, what's that?
I did want to point out on this screen as well, because like Steve said, the copay plan has a higher premium. You know, how we choose to cost share that between the departments and the employees is still a local decision. But because the copay plan has a higher premium, 2/3 of our members are in that plan. So there would be a cost shift we would have to make up in how we fund that. And I think you already covered the rest, yeah.
So there are two scenarios we put up here. One, if the county decides to choose the SEPCO plan, and it's based on what's currently funded today, not what the actual expense is, because if you remember from the original meeting, when you compare actual expense, which is higher, either program represents a savings for you. But from a funding standpoint today, you can see that we have $14.2 million funded in 23. The SEPCO plan is actually coming in at $14 million when you add in county admin plus the HSA cost. So the funding in this case would probably be about $200,000. And we have two scenarios here. One where employees have no increase in costs and the county increases, the department increased $200,000. The second option would be a split between employees increasing $100,000 and the county increasing $100,000. So you can see from ignoring the runout, which adds that $1.1 million, from just a regular premium standpoint and funding, there is the extra cost is only $200,000 for SEPCO. So the second scenario is with United Healthcare, and keep in mind there is no run out here because the dollar number that shows up here represents a full 12 months of claims. So that's why when you look at the funding today of $14.2 million and the full year of claims of 14.6, there is a gap in the process, and so that gap that we have to make up considering this is about $800,000. Again, that's because it's a full year of claims in the process. So the two scenarios that are put up here would be, first one, no change in employee cost, a department increase. I've got to flip over my other page here. Sorry. Apologize. So a department increase of $600,000 and an additional reserve draw of $200,000 to make up that difference. We do have a second option, which would be employees would pick up $100,000. The departments would pick up $200,000 or $500,000, and then there's a healthcare reserve of $200,000 there as well. So those are the two options. Ignoring the runouts, obviously SEPCO is the lowest fixed cost that comes through, but when you consider the fact that you've got a full year of claims, that's already represented in the United Healthcare piece.
We have went through all of this with the Healthcare Advisory Committee, and there are some of them who have joined us today, if there's any questions. And looking at all things, it was unanimous to stay with UHC. Some of those, the feedback was looking at the copay plan, that it does have a separate out-of-pocket maximum for medical versus prescription. So there is a cost savings potential for the county, but it will shift in plan design some cost to our employees. And that was, it appeared at least this year, the best plan that SEPCO had to offer. There are 4 other plan options. So that was the closest to what we currently offered.
Right.
And there was also feedback on, that move from local control to SEPCO control, which is pros and cons, depending on how you look at it. The committee was a little split on how to fund the increase. There is a desire to pass no or minimal cost to employees. The $100,000 that we represented to employees have not seen an increase since 2019. Very proud that this board's been able to hold their increases flat. Part of that last year was by the use of the reserve draw. which we cannot continue to draw that much into next year. But that $100,000 would represent a flat $4.15 increase per paycheck to employee. So if that, for
Yeah.
$4.15 per paycheck.
And that just covers the 100,000.
Correct.
Sandy, how many are on this board?
The SEPCO board,
The advisory board?
the, we have the courts, the sheriff, engineer, JFS,
So
public
each
health,
Department is pretty well represented.
the larger departments, yeah.
Do we have any of those committee people here?
Yes.
3 are here.
OMB, I forgot OMB.
Would any of you like to add anything? You don't have to, I'm just asking. Okay.
Not unless you have specific questions, I think. Do a good job. So.
Do you have any other questions about the information? I know it's
Good.
a lot to take in.
Good.
Commissioner Corcoran, anything?
Nothing else. Thank you.
With the motion, obviously, this motion was provided in a previous meeting. It's currently on the table.
It was tabled, yes. And
Okay,
It is currently
no
in your
problem.
packet there.
Before I would make a motion to bring it off the table and bring it back out here to the board, is there anything we need to do with the disposition of the $100,000 contribution?
So there will be, you'll have to take this item off the table first to make the selection. And then there would have to be an add-on to the agenda to establish the rates.
Okay. And are we prepared to do that today?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I'd make,
And any feedback from the board on addressing that funding, whether to pass any cost to employees or not, is welcome.
so we have the original resolution that was tabled here on 9/20/23. So I'd make a motion, we bring that resolution for vendor requirements as presented to the Board of County Commissioners by USI on September 23rd back to the table. So
Was it tabled twice and you didn't have it on last Wednesday at
No,
all?
we did not.
No, we did not.
Right, then I'll second your motion.
We have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
And then we need a reading of the motion, right?
And Yvonne, you want to read the motion from, or Sandy, from the 20th of September?
I have it.
May I borrow this?
You may.
There you go.
Thank you. Yvonne Smith, Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. The recommendation is to accept the 2024 vendor recommendations as presented to the Board of County Commissioners by USI on September 20th, and to acknowledge the renewals of the listed carriers for 2024 as outlined in the table below. Effective January 1, 2024, and to authorize the benefits coordinator to obtain new agreements as noted for the reference services for submittal to the Board of County Commissioners for ratification. And 3, to establish the cafeteria plan reflecting the 2024 plans, employee cost, and the 2024 benefit credits. 4, to schedule the 2024 benefits open enrollment period.
So we need a motion then.
So moved.
Give a second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job, team.
Thanks to all
You
of
bet.
you. Appreciate your input.
Was there any input from the board on funding?
Is that included in the
Yeah, we can get to that when we get to the additions to the agenda. It could be presented and discussed at that time.
Okay.
Thank
We'll
you.
discuss it then.
Okay. So at this point, we're going to move on with the agenda. Okay. So then we've done public participation, consent agenda. Board, we've non-consent.
They said they'll do it later.
Yes,
We'll do
I
it
didn't
later.
hear you.
Okay,
we're on the consent agenda. Yeah.
okay.
I'll do the discussion.
Wanted to know before they left if it was family plan.
I don't know.
Okay.
We ready? Okay, non-consent, we've had this in time to review. Do I
We
have a
motion on the consent first? Consent.
consent agenda? Yes. That's what I said. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as approved or presented?
So
Well, I'll give you that motion.
I'll
can-
second.
Hey, we're just sitting here staring at each other.
Hurry, Gail, roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
You did it.
Non-consent.
Now you can go to non-consent.
Now I'm going on to non-consent. Item 7, it is the recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 137-23, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the total amount of $2,439,103.20 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated October 4th, 2023. BCC directed prepaid invoice reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on October 2nd, 2023, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
Morning.
Jim Maloney, the administrator to the Clermont County Sheriff's Office. Recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute the subgrant award agreement for subgrant number 2023-RO-ETF-R581 from the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Office of Criminal Justice Services, for funding through the Recovery Ohio 2023 grant program for the project entitled Clermont County Drug Unit in the amount of $193,542.06, with no local match required for the period of 5/1/2023 through 4/30/2024 for and on behalf of the County Sheriff of the County of Clermont, Ohio, as the designated agency for the administration and implementation pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and condition and in concert with the grant application filed electronically by the county sheriff on or about April 14th, 2023. This is one of the 3 drug grants that we have, and our award was that $193,000 and change, which is very welcomed.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Maloney. Good morning, Wayne.
Item 9 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 138-23, resolving to amend resolution number 2223, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 2/15 of 2023 and amended on 4/24, 6/14, and 8/09/2023 at a revised estimated price of $2,237,770.43 from funds appropriated from calendar year 2023 pursuant to section 307.41 of the Ohio Revised Code and in compliance with sections 307.86 through 307.92 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Renee?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Renee Wilson. I'm the contract manager for DPSS and ISD. Item number 10 is the recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, the president of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute services agreement number Q000333855 with Cincinnati Bell Telephone Company for the provision of the 50 megabytes dedicated fused internet access at the Communication Center for 911 leads, mapping, net motion access at a rate of $1,164 a month for 60 months effective October 17th, 2023 through October 16th, 2028.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Item number 11 is the recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute services agreement number Q000293031 with the Cincinnati Bell Telephone Company for the Ethernet services located at the Batavia, Beachmont, and Milford Auto Titles, as well as the Heritage Building, for an estimated rate not to exceed $12,600 annually for 36 months. And this will automatically extend for an additional 12-month period. And to allow said services agreement number Q000293031 to supersede the previous service agreements located at those buildings.
Thank you. Board, we've had the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you, Renee. Just with a tie on.
You noticed?
I did.
We all did. The minute you came in.
Unless it's made mandatory, this will be the last time. that I'm
It's
wearing this
mandatory.
tie.
Call it mandatory.
There's a long story behind it, but you really don't want to hear it. I think somebody saw a picture of me like 25 years ago with a tie and challenged me to wear it. But anyway, Miss Livesay, thank you very much and good morning.
Good morning.
Agenda item number 12 is a recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute change order number 3 to the contract with Monarch Construction Company out of Cincinnati, Ohio, for construction of the Filliger Campus Improvement Phase 1 project, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 5/31 and amended on 7/12/2023 and 8/23/23, with no change in the total contract price of $18,516,000 or the completion date of August 5th, 2024, which represents providing additional undercut, trench fill, and fabric wrap as recommended by the third-party testing agency, resulting in the required use of an amount of not to exceed $89,460.68 of the contract contingency allowance, as more fully described therein, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth within the contract for the Filliger Campus Improvement Phase 1. If you remember last Wednesday, this is what Mr. Fleming from Carmen Miller had explained. You were absent, but what had happened on one of the laterals that was going over towards the Park District, we found unsuitable soils. So this is a recommendation to resolve that. It's a not to exceed number. If they have to do the full 280 feet, we're hoping that they do not, though.
Thank you.
Board, we've had the reading of item 12. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a question, especially since Wade and Tom are both here. The 18,516,000, does that contract price include a contingency?
5%, yes, sir.
Okay, so really the contract price was less 5% of 18,516,000.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Because when I saw that, no change in the contract price, I'm like, anytime you're cutting, extra money to a contract, it's a change in the contract price.
And that's why we have to watch. It's not the typical way we have done it in the past, where we would add 10%, like the juvenile court expansion, which you all know and love.
Mhm.
This was added directly into the bid specifications.
Got it.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure it wasn't just, creative math.
No.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Anything else?
Got it.
Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Wade. Morning, Suki.
Item 13 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 13923. This will authorize Jeremy Evans to execute, certify, and submit applications for financial assistance for infrastructure replacements and improvements for project support of the infrastructure improvement projects for program year 38, which is actually fiscal year 2024, in the amounts that I'll outline in a minute. This grant will be awarded from Ohio Public Works Commission. If approved next year, we'll get a contract. What else do I want? Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to apply for two different projects. We first have our 2024 bridge replacement projects. We have 3 bridges in this package this year: Bray Road Bridge in Goshen Township, Marathon Edenton Road Bridge in Jackson, and Newtonsville Hutchinson Road Bridge in Stone Lake Township. That application will request $1,021,200 from OPWC in the form of a grant. Our second application will be for the 2024 landslide repairs. We've got 4 landslides. 3 of them are cooperative with townships. So the first one is ours on Hopper Hill Road in Pierce Township. The second one is Baldwin Road in cooperation with Union Township, who will pay the local match on that one. And the last 2 are Washington Townships, one on Coombs Road and one on Moscow Cemetery Road. So in total for that application, we'll be requesting $620,257 with Union Township and Washington Township to pay local matches of their share of their pieces.
Pretty soon, Suki, we'll have pure walled all of Hopper Hill up from the bottom up to the top of the hill, won't we?
It's a challenging road. Yes. Yeah.
That's what you get when you build on a hillside.
And yep. And that's where they built based on how they traveled in the old days.
Hundreds of years ago. Okay, board, we've had the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran. Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
So item 14 is also related to that. This is the Washington Township Cooperative Agreement. So we have a recommendation to execute the agreement between the county and Washington Township. This will be for the Moscow Cemetery and Coombs Road landslide projects, and also authorize the engineer to pursue the funding, which we've done in the prior one, for a total project cost for those 2 of $212,000, which would be $167,480 in OPWC money and $44,520 from Washington Township.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you, Suki.
We'll be back in a few weeks with Union Township's agreement.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Lyle.
Morning. Item 15 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 140-23 to amend resolution number 062-23 that was previously ratified by the board on June 28th, 2023, and approve the revised general plans for the 5-year Waterworks Capital Improvement Plan for years 2023 through 2027, and to amend said plan to include project number 6401-60239 for the BMW treatment plant control valve project located in Batavia Township, and to authorize and direct the Clermont County Water Resources Department to perform or have performed preliminary and design, engineering, preparation of detailed plans, specifications, contract documents, and estimates of cost for the proposed improvement, and further to authorize the Water Resources Department, its employees or agents, to enter onto private and or public properties to be affected by the proposed improvement after sufficient notice to owners and or persons in possession or control of such properties to perform soil investigations, surveys, appraisals, or other examinations as deemed necessary in order to finalize said preliminary or design engineering, contract documents, acquisition of right-of-way, and estimates of cost pursuant to Chapter 6103 of the Ohio Revised Code. So we typically amend our 5-year capital improvement plan annually. It's usually in May or June of each year. We've got a project that we need to add now so that we can begin design on it. And this project will help with the Bob McEwen water treatment plant, will help us direct the treated water to the north. We've got 2 24-inch mains that leave the plant. One heads north on Greenbrier Road, the other heads south, and we want to direct water to the north with the planned industrial development in that area, in the Afton area.
Okay, board, we've had the reading of item number 15. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Item 16 is a recommendation not to proceed with the Pine Lane, Branch Hill, Miamiville Road, and Decade Lane Sewer Petition Project located in Miami Township due to the lack of support from property owners for the project, and to authorize the Water Resources Department to send notice to the owners of property affected by this project, advising them that the project is no longer active and declaring that all proceedings are hereby discontinued. So this was a petition we received several years ago. The estimated assessments for each property are around $40,000. So we had a majority opposed. We do have a project in our 5-year plan that will relocate our Indian View lift station that will make sewering this portion of Miami Township hopefully more cost effective. So maybe we'll revisit this project in a few years once that project's completed.
Their cost would be a lot less than.
I don't know what costs will be in
Well,
5 years, but it will be easier. It'll be easier to construct. So I would hope that construction costs will go down.
Okay. Board, we've had the reading of item number 16. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Item 17 is a recommendation to award the bid and execute the contract for project number 6401-60189 for the PUB Water Treatment Plant Wellfield Rehabilitation Project for wells 4, 8A, 14, and 15A located in Pierce Township pursuant to the specifications to Moody's of Dayton Incorporated out of Miamisburg, Ohio, for the lowest and best bid received on August 31st, 2023 at the accepted item prices as outlined therein for a total amount not to exceed $644,644 in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order. That somehow got deleted off. But their bid, which was the lowest and best, we had 2 bids. It was 90% of the engineer's estimate for the project.
Board, we've had the reading of item number 17. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
Who are you?
Greg Beckford, Assistant County Administrator. Nice to see you. Number 18 is a recommendation to authorize O.R. Cole and Associates out of Fairview Park, Ohio, to enter into property acquisition discussions on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners and to further authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board, to execute the fair market value approval form relative thereto. So, Board, this is in relation to the airport. We have a runway protection zone we need to potentially acquire. As you recall, they did do an appraisal on the property, and so we're going to enter into those negotiations.
Okay. Board, we've had the reading of item number 18. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Thank you. Gail, I think you have 19.
Yes, this is a travel and trading request and reimbursement of expenses to approve according to the policies and procedures of the Board of County Commissioners in compliance with the annual appropriations for calendar year 2023. This would be for David Painter, trip to Columbus, and an estimated not to exceed amount of $1,301.
Okay, and this is for the CCAO
Winter
Winter
Conference.
Conference, just to clarify. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Abstain.
Okay, moving on to item 20, Mary Raines.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Item 20 is a request to increase the 2023 annual appropriation in the general fund. These are both for the Sheriff's Office for donations that they've received. The first is for the Administration Department of $711.68. And the other is for the Road Patrol in the amount of $4,056.26.
Okay, we've had the reading of item number 20. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, thank you, Mary. So, Tom, at this time, we have some tabled items.
Yeah, we took care of the first one,
Right.
the healthcare choices, but we do have a tabled item from, it was 9/27 of 23. Item number 17, so that's an appointment to the Ohio Power Siting Board.
Okay. We need to add this to the agenda,
Just remove it from the table.
remove it from, okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Okay.
Board, this is the disposition of an appointment to the Ohio Power Siting Board for Clear Mountain Energy Center LLC project in Clermont County. This is a recommendation for the appointment of a county commissioner or their designated alternate to the Ohio Power Siting Board for the Clear Mountain Energy Center LLC Certificate of Environmental Capability and Public Need for a solar facility in Clermont County, Ohio. This is pursuant to and in compliance with Ohio Revised Code 4906.21 C1B.
Try to answer it for you.
Yes.
So there is not an official application. There's an intent to file an application on this one. This is an interesting potential project. Part of it is pre-Senate Bill 52. So it's a different set of rules, but part of it, as they've presented, may be in a restricted zone. So this is going to be kind of a half grandfathered, not half grandfathered. Either way, the board still needs to appoint someone to the Power Siting Board. Now, you don't have to do it now. You have 30 days after the official submittal. Official submittal may come as early as next month, may come in January. So really the choice is yours. The townships have already appointed, I believe, Trustee Spieg
Jackson.
for their side. Now it's up to the board to determine if they want a county commissioner to be on that or if they want to appoint another designee. Typically what we're seeing throughout the state, most of the county commissioners that are being appointed to the Power Siting Board for the ad hoc vote.
Just a question on this particular. There's been some question about this particular project about whether it really is grandfathered.
Correct.
Or whether this board still has jurisdiction to restrict that project.
Yeah, and that's an answer we don't have yet. The PUCO will not make that determination until the application is formally filed.
But I understand that once an application is formally filed, is there a 90-day soak period? Is that what it is for the commissioners to, or is it from the first informational meeting that they have within the county? Where does that start and finish?
Well, the first official meeting has not been established yet. We believe it's going to be, they have a meeting coming up. The PUCO has recognized, that's the first one they've recognized.
Okay.
PUCO has not recognized any of the other meetings that happened because it was a different plan. So this is an expanded plan. So I think our best bet is to appoint someone to the Power Siting Board, and then we can deal with it on a staff level with PUCO as to what our responsibilities are for the development.
And are we correct in saying that Jackson did submit a resolution to restrict all solar panels, all large solar farms?
Yeah, they were on the first round, so they are restricted. That's correct. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
you're suggesting that we go ahead and appoint someone?
yeah, there's no harm in not doing it. That way you have one for when this does come through, and then we have a formal seat at the table.
Ask my fellow commissioners, anyone interested in sitting on this board?
I'll sit on it.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
I make a motion to nominate Claire Corcoran to sit on the to be the Clermont County Commissioner designated Ohio Power Siting Board representative for the Clear Mountain Energy Center project.
I'll second it before she changes her mind.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
All right. So we will move on to item G. Add-on for consideration, healthcare benefit rates.
Yes. So we have to add that to the agenda first. And then
Yes.
turn it over to Sandy and Yvonne.
Can I have a motion to add this to the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Try not to start coughing again. With the selection of United Healthcare, we had the two funding options. And that was whether to pass any cost on to employees or not. As stated, 100,000 passed to employees would be $4.15 a paycheck. The other option was to absorb the cost between the general revenue fund and department funds and a continued draw on some of the reserve. So those were our two recommendations.
And you said, Sandy, there has not been an increase since 2019?
Correct. We've been able to hold them for 4 years.
And the definition of that increase, is that per person? Like for family, is that per person or?
We did it across the board for both plans and all tiers. So every employee, regardless of which plan they were enrolled in which tier, whether that's employee or employee single, was the $4.15.
Okay, that clarifies.
And that helped equalize it. Otherwise, the families would have taken a little bit harder hit, or you know how that panned out.
Makes sense. So do we need a motion?
Let me just say, what's driving that cost increase? What didn't materialize to where we have to make that consideration? Is that the RX?
It's a couple of factors, and I would say that the renewal with UHC, we were projected to be at 14.2 million this year, and the renewal is at 14.6. So that's a $400,000 increase.
And that's
part of the other factor is we drew 400,000 on reserves. So we're trying to make up that funding as well, because we can't continue to pull on the reserves. So there is the other factor of the rebates not coming in where we believe they were. Part of that was due to the manufacturer change with AbbVie.
Yeah, AbbVie was
Did
part
that
of,
make up the 835,000 total? Is that where that total is?
it's 400,000.
400,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the other 400,000 is what we pulled from the reserves last year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
But the total was 800. 815.
Yes.
Is that
The
right?
increase is 415,000, but the total that we need to fund is 815,000.
Right. In this $100,000, where does that fit in that whole?
The 800,000, the suggestion is 100,000 passed to employees, which is a minimal share. And then we would have 500,000 absorbed by the county, the department funds, with 200,000 continued draw on the reserve. So that we cut our draw on reserves in half, but still help some, so as not to pass too much more on to employees.
So we need a motion either to do it or not to pass on to the employees.
Well, you don't want to make a negative motion.
Yeah, so the UHC option 1 is $600,000 to the county, 0 to the employees, and 200,000 to the reserves. So you would either adopt that or option 2, which is $500,000 to the county, 100,000 to the employee, and 200,000 to the reserves. So do you have this sheet that you can give them examples of
You can put it
the
up,
increases?
can't you? Wasn't it in the presentation?
It is.
Okay.
It
I
is.
just want to make sure.
It's in the blue right here.
Yeah.
So that gives you what the increase in cost would be
Yeah, it's
per
the blue
employee.
sheet. David, keep going.
It was in a tab.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Go. No, it's the next one.
Next one.
It just shows.
There.
UNC.
So that gives you an idea of what the employees would pay based on their choice.
So if you go with option 1, the employees don't make a contribution. 600,000 is in the county cost, and then the reserves pull down 200,000.
That's correct.
If you go with option 2, it's 100,000 to employees, 500,000 to the county, 200,000 in reserve.
Correct.
Okay.
And we gave the average amount, what it would be per employee of the increase.
Flat, yes.
The flat.
Yeah, $4.15
$4.15
per paycheck. Per paycheck.
And, just my thought on it, just my comment, we're looking at ways to retain employees. There's many, many different ways to do it. we have an opportunity here to, absorb this cost and not pass it on to the employee. And, just my opinion, I would say in the environment we're in right now, trying to hold on to people,
With everything else going on.
let's hold it one more year without them having to pull money out of their pocket if we can.
I agree with you.
Okay.
That would be option
So I'd make a motion that we adopt option number 1.
And just so that I can clarify something here, in looking at the rates, the difference between option 1 and option 2 is about $5 to the per tier to the departments. It's just $5.
I'll second your motion.
Okay.
Roll call, Gail.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes, I think it's the right thing to do.
Got it.
Okay.
I have a recommendation to approve, number 1, the cafeteria plan reflecting the 2024, sorry?
They've already
They've already done it.
already done it.
Yes,
Okay,
Yep.
they did it earlier.
Yeah, they
Yes.
approved option 1.
okay. Sorry? Oh, okay.
Look at you.
Sorry. Not
Yvonne,
done
thanks for coming today.
practice, I've never done an add-on before.
We already did your.
Yvonne, thanks for being here today.
Do it again. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. So at this time, we need an add-on for consideration to add to an executive session G3 and G8. And I have a motion to add that to the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. And at this time, item H is an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1, G3, G8 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment, promotion, and compensation of a public employee or more public employees. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
I'll second.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Before we
Tom,
go-
I'm sorry. Should I have read this whole thing? I didn't Can I reread this, please?
Sure.
I didn't see this laying over here. Executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1, G3, and G8 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment, promotion, and compensation of a public employee or more public employees. 2, to confer with the prosecuting attorney concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court actions. And 3, to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance to be provided under sections 5709.77 to 5709.81 of the Ohio Revised Code. Now, can I have a motion?
I would make a motion that we rescind our previous motion to go into executive session.
I will grant a second on that.
Okay.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
And now I would make a motion that we go into executive session as presented by Commissioner Batchelor.
I'll
Forget
second
who I
that one.
was.
I just didn't know what.
Commissioner Painter,
El Presidente. Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
And just in case nobody joins us when we get back, am I right that today at 2:20 is the day that all the phones are going to go off with that federal
That's what I,
Supposed to be.
alert? I just wanted to
Alert,
warn
yeah.
people before we went, if your phones start going off, you know
and I
why.
understand you can't.
At 2:18 and 2:20. Thank you, Wade.
And,
Appreciate
and
it.
then,
Can't
and then
option
just,
out of it
just, were we, hey, Greg, were we going to talk about Weaver Road today?
Yes, sir.
Later?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. Just want to make sure.
All right.
Let her rip. We have returned from executive session. No actions or decisions were made. I have to read again why we went in. To executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1, G3, and G8 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the employment, promotion, and compensation of a public employee or more public employees, to confer with the prosecuting attorney concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and 3, to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan's specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance to be provided under section 5709.77 to 5709.81 of the Ohio Revised Code. Okay, moving on. What did you want to do first, Mr. Rigel?
We have some more staff discussion, so I think we want to
Okay.
revisit Weaver Road.
Okay,
So I'll let Mr. Bickford, Mr. Bloom discuss that, the board.
Board, if you remember, several weeks ago, we talked about the Weaver Road water petition, and that's been going on for such a while. Anytime you do a water petition, it takes a while. And we had talked about an additional $70,000 in ARPA funds at the time because costs have gone up, number of properties have gone down. And the board had requested at the time just to get an indication where we're at with ARPA funds. So as of today, you have approximately $3.6 million, give or take, in unencumbered, in the lost revenue funds for ARPA that you have not said we're going to spend that at. So this would certainly come out of that, or it could come out of other water and sewer ARPA funds. You have set aside about $10 million for broadband. When you factor all that together, you're looking at about $4.2 million left of ARPA funds. Now, I think we'll probably ask for some of that for broadband. There may be some more water resource improvements as well. There's always road improvements. So really, it's just an issue of this additional approximately $70,000 request to decide if you want to dedicate it towards this particular project. So I think Lyle can kind of fill you in on some more details on it. But at the end of the day, this was supposed to be initially started out, the petition was the full street would loop our water system. It kind of got pared back over the years, really, to 5 properties. I think it's about 40 acres that are served total. There is one larger piece that could be potential for development. So we're kind of at a crossroads now. The assessment that was talked about by the county when it first started was about $7,000, give or take, $7,600. So in order to keep us at that level with the 5 properties that are still involved, it's another $60,000, or probably $70,000 approximately in additional funds. So
We've already dedicated about 102,000.
yes, correct. You already have 160,000 into this.
102,106 and some change in ARPA was originally, and then to keep their assessments at what we've been presenting, it would be an additional $72,020.
Just as a question, have we incurred any costs on this project so far? Have we done any engineering or anything like that?
Yes, we've been working on the design. We're doing the design in-house, but we outsource the survey work.
Yep.
So really, the main cost that we've incurred is for surveying.
Okay. Just to let that, and we had quoted this project to them at the 7,600 level before we knew that there were some owners on the street that were going to say no.
Well, that, and then we had, even when we trimmed the project back to just the 5 property owners, the issue was it was all based on bids. We made an estimate, an engineer's estimate on the construction costs based on 2020 bids. Construction costs really escalated since then. So Ainsley, as the project manager, she revised the bid estimates, or the construction estimate, and it went up about 41%. We've got easement costs built into it as well now. So costs have increased. So the assessments, tentative assessments now have increased from the $7,600 approximately to almost $22,000 for each of the 5 property owners. one option here would be that we keep, if we want to contribute additional ARPA funds, to keep their assessments at the $7,600. Once it bids out, we get the actual costs in. If actual costs are less than our estimates, we would reduce the ARPA fund contribution, just to keep their assessments at that 7,600.
And Greg, just talk about ARPA funds just for a second. Lost revenue funds, we don't have a date certain that they have to be spent by. But if it's the other ARPA funds, we got to spend those by 26 anyway, right?
Everything has to go.
Actually, even the lost revenue.
Even the lost revenue. So we're starting to bump. If we're keeping $10 million for broadband, we're starting to bump up on actually being able to get these dollars committed, spent, and over. So, okay. I mean, my thought, we've talked about it a couple times. It's been here. I'd be for, funding it at that level and get the thing done and move forward. That's my opinion.
So put a motion on the.
I'd put a motion on the floor that we provide the $70,000 in additional.
$72,020 is
How much?
$72,020.
Okay.
So
Get that $20 in
That's
there.
right.
so
Additional.
so moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second his motion.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran, Commissioner Batchelor.
Thank you.
But before you leave, let's talk about broadband.
That's what I was going to talk about next.
broadband.
So we will get working on Weaver Road, moving that forward. Broadband, just to give you an update, you probably saw on the initial agenda, there was a request for statement of qualifications for a consultant to kind of get us that next step. Currently working with the prosecutor's office. There's some questions as to what are our responsibilities under the Ohio Revised Code to create this or to build this, because this is an asset that we will turn around and lease to third parties, and there will be some type of income generated off of that. I don't know how much that is yet, and I don't think anybody knows how much that is. So I'm looking at the next step. The next step may be work with the prosecutor's office to figure out how to construct the asset and then turn it over to the Port Authority. Is there a way for us to potentially keep this asset? Or is it turn the whole project over to the Port Authority, let them handle its build out? So I'm working with Pat Woodside on that issue as well. We're unique in that, for example, Warren County, what they did was they went out and put out an RFP for anybody to build the network. Well, they ended up signing a deal with Alta Fiber to expand that network, where they've committed $4.5 million. Then Alta Fiber will build out the network, but then that is the provider. So Alta Fiber has control over that. And the only requirement was that they have to provide the service. Nothing about anybody else using that particular, what we'll call the middle mile. Alta Fiber and the county had to sign a co-recipient agreement where Alta Fiber has to agree to abide by the rules that the county would have to abide by. So that's one way to do it. Our issue with that is a lot of where we need broadband is not part of Alta Fiber or Spectrum's service territory. And they typically are going to hold to those old, it's called the ILEC. It's the original phone boundaries. And Bell has said to us, we are not going to go into Felicity because that's not in our ILEC. Well, that's where we need it. So we have to come up with a way. I don't know if it's in our best interest to have a private provider build that out when they're not interested in doing it. So I think what the board's initial direction was, let's go with that middle mile model. And I still think that's our best bet. We need to get a consultant on board to get us over the hump with final design, to get us with permitting, to get us with engineering of this particular project. So that's kind of where we're at, the point where we're at right now. We still have plenty of time as far as the ARPA fund deadlines, and the $10 million should be sufficient to get it started. There's Broadband Ohio funds we're going to look at, all kinds of other funds that could hopefully complete this, but it's just getting over that hump of how do we make this work in the constraints of being a county. And that's what prosecutor's office is looking at right now. So
and I think your point is right on. Your suggestion to pass this over to the Port Authority is probably a great path forward. That's what the Port Authority's for. I mean, they're chartered to be able to enter into private government partnerships, and to do that and to take it out of that law jurisdiction of the prosecutor's office that, where we can't own a particular asset and make money off of it.
Medina
What Port
County.
Authority's for.
They've done something similar. Medina County had turned over their Port Authority, and they partner with a third-party internet provider. So there's a model out there to look at. So I've got Pat Woodside looking at it from, who represents Port, looking at it from that standpoint as well, or he will be soon. We've had some conversations about it, but it depends which hat we're going to wear today. So that's just the update on broadband. There's definitely a big push nationwide now to get these types of models done.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Any other staff or elected official? Okay, member comments?
Not today.
Okay. Who wants to make it?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Thank you.